So people can get really upset in this game, and while making my Stalingrad video for today, every single match had some salty gamers, and I know this game can be frustrating. Obviously, it's designed to be a little bit frustrating by wargaming, but just the way people just don't really get what's going on in the match and constantly blame other people, it's just crazy. So I wanted to make a little side video for today, and I just don't quite get it. It's like nothing else really matters outside of what people think is just happening to them. I don't realize other things are going on in the match. So, yeah, I want to see what happened to this guy. He's upset. This game is over. He's been dead at this point for I think maybe 5-7 minutes or so. He rides it out till the whole game. And here he is, sitting in the open next to his cruisers who he's complaining about, and he's getting torped by the DDs, spammed with HE, and struck by the carrier. And yes, I get it that it's frustrating for this kind of thing to happen, but what I don't quite understand is the instantly blame everybody else when you're sitting in the open in a dangerous spot, and you could have played it differently. And I catch myself doing this myself sometimes. I'm not trying to call this specific guy out. What I'm saying is, maybe there's something else going on in the game, and maybe some decisions you made coming up to this event might have changed the outcome, you know? Not necessarily just what everybody else did was wrong, and everything you did was right. And I'm not saying if you get top score, this kind of behavior is okay. What I am saying is, it tends to be the people that end up lower on the scoreboard that are often complaining more. Like our Ohio and our Immelman in this scenario, that we're not too pleased with the way our team played things. But again, it's not okay. Like, if I complained the same way without considering my own actions, even though I got top score, that's still a weird thing to do, to not consider my own decisions, to put me as myself in a spot where I could die very quickly. Now on to the next one. This guy seems to be maybe offering a tip, but it's his second comment that makes me think he really wasn't too happy, wanting the CV to just go ram to be more effective. So what happened to this guy? Well, he decided to go cap A, which is really good, but he didn't have support, and he's well within the range of a Stalingrad. He, of course, is going to get focused by the CV because, well, he's a DD, and he's like the last one left. So, of course, the CV is probably going to go after him. He pokes out, and there's a Kleber, Stalingrad, Minotaur, and a CV coming after him. It's no surprise that he ends up going down there. So, yes, caps are very important to get, and sometimes you do just need to YOLO in, but yeah, I don't know about blaming the CV for not going over there and being on my side, which was the C cap in this game, helping me to secure C. You can't be in two places at once, and the CV decided to go for C, and as a player, you should understand and see whether your CV is giving you support and maybe make plays based off of that, not assuming you're going to get support from everyone on your team all the time, every second. Now, in contrast to that last one, this guy is very unhappy, using all chat, letting everyone in the match know how unhappy he is. And, well, I don't know about this next message. Seems a little extreme. And what happened to this guy? Well, he was sitting on an island not spotting any of the middle, and then when he pops out finally, he meets 2 enemy destroyers and a Kurfürst, and he's miles away from his teammates because, well, they can't sit there in the middle just getting torped over and over again by these destroyers, so they had to move away. And he pops out at maybe the worst time. Of course, you can see I am actually trying to help him because it's important we keep a DD alive in the middle of the camp if we want to win this game. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like there's some decision making here going on with some of these players that could have resulted in some better games and scenarios where they didn't die as quickly. It might not be their teammates' fault, right? I don't know. It just seems a little bit odd the way things are always blamed on other people. And I've done this before. I can catch myself doing this as well. It's a very natural thing to do. But it just seems like maybe it's not everything is all about you all the time, right? So in the next match, we got a whole bunch of gamers upset. Gearing's mad his team isn't pushing. Our Thunder's mad. The DDs are hiding. The Hindenburg's upset. The DDs are in the back. And, well, they're just gonna keep insulting one another. And, well, what happened in this game? Well, I sat on my island and did my thing, as we saw in the main video. But, well, these guys aren't too happy. What happened to these people? Well, the Gearing, who wasn't appreciating our team camping behind islands, was he himself camping behind an island, making sure he wasn't really spotting much coming in. It's pretty difficult to push when you don't really know what's there, and, well, a Summers is a pretty strong torpedo DD, so you're not really going to see people pushing into that very often. Now, what happened to the Thunderer? Well, he started the game by camping at the back, as you would in a Thunderer. And yeah, the DDs have come back a long ways, but you really are expecting destroyers to push into a cap surrounded by a Petro, a Des Moines, and a Minotaur, all ready to radar and kill you, as well as battleships there to, get some chunks in? Doesn't seem exactly reasonable, does it? Later on in the match, he decides to push into a massive crossfire, and ends up sailing broadside to a bunch of battleships. And he's upset that we can't spot and kill the Des Moines and Minotaur behind an island. Well, of course we can't, because the Minotaur's going to smoke, and the Des Moines is just going to radar any destroyer that gets too close. I just don't see the logic here, and I guess that's the thing, right? You're not thinking straight because you're frustrated. And I get that. Frustration happens, but I just don't see the point in complaining to your teammates. I brought this up in a video on my main channel where getting frustrated doesn't help you play better, and sprouting off to your teammates doesn't help your teammates play better. And of course, last of all, this is random battles. The end result doesn't really matter. And last of all, let's take a look at what happened to the Hindenburg. He sits bow on in a Hindenburg on an island, which is generally not a great position for a Hindenburg. It's more of an open water, flanking, kiting kind of cruiser. And then he pops out flat broadside to a Petro and a bunch of DDs and a battleship or two. And predictably, he ends up dying. And I don't understand blaming that on your teammates. Yes, the DDs are far back, but there's radar in the area. There's lots of other DDs. I just think there's other things going on that other players are worrying about that people just don't seem to notice. Now, this last game, of course, we remember our Worcester making the mistake. Yes, it was a mistake. But it just is an interesting example of a lot of toxicity in this game's community. I'm not sure what Wargaming's seeing when they say, wow, this community is so great and helpful to one another. It's a very, very toxic game. And I don't see how a Worcester turning broadside is using Warpack. Seems a little bit of an odd accusation to level at someone. And finally in this game, we have a Stalingrad upset that the CV did not spot the destroyers. And I'm not sure what the CV's response here is about stupid visibility, but what happened to these guys? Well, it seems our Stalingrad was left on a flank after most of the team around him died, and the enemy destroyers just kind of had a field day. And he pushed back in a little too aggressively when he met up with our destroyer teammate, and then the DDs just kind of gunned him down. So I guess, yeah, it's frustrating to die like that to destroyers gunning you out, but maybe you didn't have to be that aggressive coming back into the game. I'm not sure, but it's odd to instantly blame the CV. He can't be everywhere at once. And while I'm not a fan of CVs, they're only able to be on one spot at one time. The old CVs, sure, he could be spotting and doing different things all over the map, but these ones, one spot at one time. And expecting them to constantly do everything you want all the time right away, especially in random battles, it's just not realistic. Now, before this video ends, I do want to say don't spread hate to these people. I don't want that to happen. This is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to just take a bit more analytical and logical look at why people are frustrated and upset in in-game chat, and not perhaps thinking necessarily logically or straight because they're frustrated. Maybe this gives you something to think about when you're frustrated in-game, that maybe there's something else to consider outside of what only happened to you. Maybe there's something you're missing. Maybe there's something that you just didn't notice was happening, why other people were making the decisions they were making. I know this has happened for me a lot when I go back and rewatch games that I've had where there's been a lot of frustration. Making videos has really done that for me, where I'll have a good game, but I'll be really frustrated by the end of it. And maybe I said, some things while frustrated while I was streaming or something like that. And then I go back and rewatch it while making a video because it was still a good game. And I'll realize, oh, I was frustrated, but the reason was that I didn't know what actually all happened in the moment. So yeah, just something to think about. Something that's maybe changed my thought process a little bit. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have a great day.